inside the Riverkings locker room on this September edition of Riverkings Hockey. Our first player guest today is goaltender Eric Schutte, and we're going to spend the next few minutes getting to know Eric, as you'll see him on the ice plenty throughout this 2017-18 season. First of all, Eric, let's let the fans get to know you by talking about where's home.
Olathe, Kansas, originally, and then in Rapids here I live with the Cronstead family, so those are my billets.
So tell us about Olathe. What part of Kansas is that in?
It would be the northeast, so kind of, Kansas is like a square with the bite taken out of it. It's close to the bite up there in the top corner, and it's about half an hour outside of Kansas City, which is pretty much the only city in Kansas people know. So.
Okay. And what do you miss about Kansas? I know we'll talk about what you like about have your experience here in Wisconsin, but what do you miss about home?
The farms. Just kidding. No, it's my family and friends for the most part. A lot of my friends go to school down there, but still when I come to Rapids, I have more friends now. So it's not the end of the world. It's sad not being away from home, but it's my second year doing it, so I've adjusted pretty well.
Okay. And are you with the same billet family this year as you were last?
Yes, same one.
So you're no doubt looking forward to that.
Yes, they're the best. They're my second family. Like I spent the majority of the summer with them actually in Sun Prairie, so it's just a lot of fun. They're a great family, second family without a doubt. Like my mom and my billet mom get along really well. They'll talk, and it's just weird because Mrs. Cronstead will say something like, "Oh, I was talking with your mom," and I'm like, "When?" And so they have a great relationship, and it's just a really cool experience.
Yeah. So tell us about your hockey history. When did you start playing the game? Did you start out as a goaltender?
I did not, actually. I watched my cousin play a game when I was younger. And so when I was in kindergarten, I told my mom, I said, I want to go play hockey. And she's like, okay. And no one in my family had, and I got out there. And I guess, from what my mom tells me, I thought I was really good as a skater, and I was not at all. They told me that I was the worst one on the ice. They told me this now. When I was younger, they said, no, you're doing great, sweetie, keep it up. But nowadays, my mom's like, yeah, you were the worst one on the ice. And so then 3 years into that, I just looked at goalie, and I was like, that looks like fun. So I told my coach if our goalie ever couldn't make it, I'd give it a shot. And I did, and pretty much just fell in love with it ever since. And then still split time growing up because we had two goalies on my team when I was younger. So it would be a goalie one game and a skater the next. But goalie was way more fun for me, so that's what I took to.
So talk about your journey from youth hockey in Olathe and in Kansas here to the Riverkings. Tell us about how you got here.
Well, so I played all my hockey up until this point in Kansas. Played 4 years of high school for the Kansas City Jets, which is just the AA high school team we have in Kansas. Play a lot of our games out of Iowa. And our assistant coach is also now an assistant coach for the Riverkings, Brent Culleton. And he's known Marty for years. Like they go way back. And so when it came time for juniors, I used Coach Culleton a lot as my kind of guide for what I needed to do. And he spoke highly of the Riverkings. And then I kind of did my own research, talked to other people. I even talked with former Riverkings goalie Sam Nelson. Because I was on the fence between a couple of teams, and I talked with him because he'd been around. He'd played different leagues, different teams for several years, and using kind of what he said as well. It just got here, and couldn't be happier.
So your second year, tell us what you notice is the difference. And I know you haven't been on the ice with these guys a great deal yet in terms of game action, but what are some of the differences you notice from last year to this year in the Riverkings?
I think the biggest thing would be size right away. Our height is really solid. Like we have some big, strong kids too, and I really think this year we're a little bit deeper. Last year we were solid, but this year I think we have even more depth, and we'll be able to roll all four lines, all three pairs of D, and all goalies too. Our goaltenders are very good as well. So I really think depth and size are two big things.
So I want to ask you a goalie insider question. Now, there's a couple different ways that a game can take shape. One of which is that you physically dominate a game, and you really don't see a lot of action in goal because the team is playing so well in front of you. Would you prefer to get in the action a little bit, see a couple of shots, find a rhythm, so that when you get in a certain situation, you're prepared for? Which of those scenarios is more ideal for a goaltender?
You want to be in the flow of the game. If you're not seeing a lot of shots, it's pretty hard because then you'll get a shot and you might give a bad rebound that you have normally if you're in the game and you've been feeling the pucks, it wouldn't happen. But if the team's scoring goals, and we're dominating, so if it's a 6-0 game, it's not the end of the world if I give one up. So it's ruins a shutout, but we're still going to win, and that's essentially the goal. So I'm good as long as we're winning, really. So whatever they do, they score more than the other team. That's what makes me happy.
What's more difficult from your perspective? A screen shot that you can't see, you can't get a good look at, traffic in front of the goal, or an odd man break?
I'd have to say a screen, because those just if that there's a saying for a goalie, it's you can't stop what you can't see.
Yeah.
And then in an odd man rush, it's not an ideal situation, but at least there are factors that you can work on, and you can work with your defenseman and communicate it like, hey, I'll take the shooter, you just worry about the pass for me or something like that. And it's probably not neither really are ideal, but I'd probably prefer an odd man rush as opposed to a screen where I'm not going to see anything.
So tell us about some of your teammates that are coming to us from the Kansas City area, from back in Kansas, and joining the team this year.
Yeah, so we all kind of took different routes to get here. So the other two guys are Tristan Hillibert and Tom McManus, and you'll talk to them here in a little bit. But we all kind of had our own different ways. So Tristan and I were both seniors, but Tristan didn't play his senior year for the Jets, so he'll cover that. And then Tom was a year behind me in school, and so then when I left, then he did his own thing. Once again, a different path. But I think it's a lot of fun being back with them. They're definitely more improved from when I saw him. I think Tristan, he really improved his shot from the last time I saw him, and it's really no secret why. Like we have the shooting area upstairs here at the rink, and he's up there, every other day, if not every day, working on his shot. And I think he's definitely gotten stronger as well. And same with Tom, he's gotten a lot stronger, and he's always been a really smart defenseman, and I think his skating ability has caught up with that. So he always read the ice really well. Now his skating ability, he's quick on his feet, and he's really strong on his edges. And so I think that really improved his game.
So now we're just a couple of nights out from the home opener. You're in that last few days. Tell us about how you're feeling about the home opener and the excitement that's generated for that.
It's really, everyone's excited to get playing. We had the unfortunate circumstance where our games got moved from last weekend, so we only have the 2 preseason ones under our belt. But I think we're really ready to get going, especially, the season opener will be at home, which will be a lot of fun, and we have the banner raising ceremony to commemorate last season. So, everyone's really excited.
Final question for you, Eric. Tell us about your second home here in Wisconsin Rapids. You shared about your billet family, but what about the community? What do you like about having some junior hockey days here in Wisconsin Rapids?
I really like all the people. There's not a mean person in Wisconsin Rapids that I've met. And it goes from really anyone, all the billets I've met are nice. Everyone that's involved with the Riverkings is nice. And then just when you're out, if you're at Polito's or something, they're really nice. Or if you're at Walmart, they're just super nice, just everyone.
Thank you, Eric. That's Eric Schutte, goaltender of the Riverkings. You'll see him in action this season right here in Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Stay tuned. There's more coming up. Marty Quarters is the head coach of the Wisconsin Rapids Riverkings, and we're going to visit with him now in this September edition of Riverkings Hockey. Coach, how about practice? How do the preseason practices go? How are you feeling about your team as you get ready for games that count?
Well, I've been very impressed because it's such a hard-working group of young men, and probably our best well-conditioned group that we've had from the get-go. And everything we've thrown at them, they've welcomed it, and they take an approach that they just want to be better. And with that mindset, you can really push a team and really see some good improvement. We have seen some good improvement right off the bat. So,
what did you learn about this team? He did have a couple of preseason games, don't count in the standings, but a couple of preseason games. What did you learn from those?
we know we have a really good group of kids with high character, and if you look at their grades across the board, it's we're definitely one of the smartest teams in the league. I was a little concerned about their compete level. And having Blake Anderson come into town, and we did some competition drills, and that was a surprise for me, and in a positive way, because that was one thing I thought we were a little bit maybe too well-mannered of a team for being hockey. You got to have a little bit of some grizzle in your bite, and but they showed that, and they're very competitive. And I think if you think about kids that are high achievers in the classroom, that's usually a competitive edge. You're competing against someone, and I wasn't sure that was going to translate to the ice, and it looks like it has. And we had a couple exhibition games, and the first game didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we responded nicely. They showed a strong will to win and a strong will to compete for each other, and that was something that was probably my biggest concern, and it isn't going into the season now.
Talk about, what do you see as the emerging identity? That every team's got a personality, every team has an identity that kind of can develop over the course of a year. But as of now, as you start the year, what do you see as the identity of this particular team?
Well, we have good size, and we can get up and down the ice. So we want to play fast, hard, and physical. And now it's just a matter of how hard they're willing to work for each other. And I think that's going to be what gets us over the hump here. And this identity isn't going to change from the past, except that I think we're going to have a little bit more speed and a little bit more size, which is going to enable us to stick to River King hockey. And probably this is the team that's most geared to play that style of play.
How fluid will the roster be? How many changes might occur over the course of a season, Coach?
I don't really like to make a lot of changes. I like to build a family. I like to my mindset is development first, not just, okay, you can't do it, we'll go get someone else that can. I'd rather sit down with a player and tell them what they need to do, and sometimes you have to sit down a few times with them. But once when a player knows that you care about their best interest and you want them to be the best they can be, then they'll go through a wall for you. And then once they know that and they see that you're going to stand by them and they're going to stand by you, then you have that human connection, and that's when you really build something special and build a team. And I think everyone in our room knows that myself and Wayne are always there for them, and we're going to do what's best for them. Like, my mindset isn't let's have the best team, it's let's have the very best players and then make them into a team. So we're going to push our players to be the best they can be every day as individuals, and then we're going to show them how to mold that in as a team. So to do that, you can't make a lot of changes, because then a lot of times when you do trades too, you're bringing someone else's problems in, and that's not something we're looking to do. Like, we put a lot of emphasis on our recruiting and bringing the right kids in, not just signing whoever we can sign. And when you do that, you don't have to make a lot of changes.
So any concerns for you about losing a couple of preseason games because of the ice conditions? Would you have liked to have those games?
Well, they were regular season games, and it would have been nice to start, but you know what? It gave us another week of practice, and we had a couple guys that were a little banged up, so they got to heal up. And there's some things that we still need to cover and make sure we know this week going into it. But what it did for me as a coach is I was able to work on some more conditioning, some more individual skill work, as well as working on our system, instead of just getting into strictly our system. Because the way we want to play, we got to be well conditioned, and we got to be able to get up and down the sheet.
How would you describe that system? If I were standing talking to another coach in the league, how might they describe the River Kings system, Marty?
Well, I'm a pretty simple guy, so keep the puck as far away from our goalie and as close to their goalie as possible. We want to tilt the ice in our direction, so we want to get pucks behind their D. We want to be a hard forward-checking team, and we want to make them skate in the direction we're going. We don't want to be skating backwards. We want to be going forward, and to do that, you got to be in good condition. You got to be able to skate, and you got to be willing to be physical and willing to make sacrifices, not to play individual hockey. And that's how we're going to play. We're going to play an aggressive, hard, forward-checking game, which I think is exciting, which I think is, in my mind, that's what real hockey is.
Are you coming out of the preseason healthy? Team pretty healthy?
Yeah, for the most part. The guys that are new to our program or new to junior hockey have to understand the difference between being injured and being hurt. Injured is, when you can't play, where you can do more damage. Hurt is now you just got to see if you have the pain tolerance to get through it, where you're not going to do more damage to yourself. That's part of the mental toughness thing that we're working on, and I think that's one of the things that has made our organization have the success we've had because of that mental toughness.
Now, if a player's making the step up, this is their first year on this level, what's the biggest adjustment? Is it the speed of the game, the physicality of the game, how hard they have to work off the ice, All the above. What is it, Coach?
I would say all of them. Probably the speed and the strength, and then being able to be committed to do it every single day, and even on your off days to be committed to making smart decisions. So you're preparing yourself for when you get back on the ice. It's not. It goes from being recreational to being a serious hockey player.
So what surprises, whether that be good or bad, what surprises have you dealt with in training camp?
They've all been good. I mean, we haven't had any negative surprises. We're surprised that all three of our goalies can carry the mail if need be. We know Schuty's our guy. He's proven himself. But with Dominic and Parker, they've been a pleasant surprise too. So we'll probably have our strongest goaltending crew that we've had here in Rapids. And then we've had some kids that have really stepped up. Jesse Edwards, you're going to talk to today. He's a boy that we didn't really recruit. He was at our tryout camp. We had 160 kids at tryout camp. Our team was pretty much full. We had a couple spots maybe open, and he filled one of those spots. So, and he's been a pleasant surprise. And you know, our defense I thought was going to be something that we really had to work on, which we're still going to work on. But Raymond Fleming and Tommy McManus have really shown that they're ready to play junior hockey now, and they're going to really help solidify our D core back there. They give us size, speed, but the two things that both those players do are they compete very hard, and that's something that's, you know, that's how you win championships if you're competitive and you compete day in and day out.
So let's talk about that for a moment. Last year it was the Dells Ducks, along with the Riverkings, who made it out of the league and onto the national level. Give us a preview of what we can expect as we watch you in the league here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media.
Well, the league has gotten a lot better. We've gone up to the Premier Division from the elite. So, you know, when I first got here, teams in our league were having a hard time filling out their rosters. And there was another league that kind of had that advantage over us, and that's kind of flip-flopped now. Though there's been some teams that have folded in a different league, and our team all has full rosters, and it's a destination where kids want to play. With our contact with the teams out east has been a really big selling point for our players here, and the showcases have been a big selling point. So our league's going to be a lot deeper and stronger. It's not going to be this a walkthrough like we had some nights. I think Steele County, from what I'm hearing, is going to have a very strong team this year. In my mind, they're kind of the favorites. I look at Forest Lake. They have a lot of their top players back. And then, you know, the Dells are always going to be a good team. Yeah. Chicago's on the other side, but we still have to play them. And then there's the team out of Minnesota. The Moose has their owner is the former coach of Janesville Jets, and he had a lot of success. So I'm expecting that they're going to be a strong team as well. But I think every night we're going to have to be prepared mentally, and so that we can be at our best physically when we hit the ice. And every night's going to be a battle.
So talk about a home opener now from a coaching perspective. We talk to the players. They're excited. It's time to get on the ice, play against somebody in another sweater. What about for a coach? What gets you excited about the home opener?
Oh, I don't have to worry about all the office stuff and the marketing and selling tickets and making sure you know, our billets are all set. Now I can just go out and do what the fun part is, and we do all that work. It's like we like to say during the week we want to get our fingernails dirty and really earn our paycheck, and then it's time to cash it in on the weekend. And that's fun. You know, I as a coach, you know, you do most of your coaching Monday through Thursday, and then on the weekend it's time for the players to play.
Well, we're excited about this upcoming season and about being a part of it, bringing the action to the fans. Thanks for having us along.
Thank you. And our fan base has gotten better, and a lot of it is due to you and Art and Tom and the whole community has really gotten behind us. So we're proud of what we have here in the Riverkings, and I think they're going to be really proud of the group that we're going to put on the ice this year for them.
Thank you, Coach. We're looking forward to seeing you Friday night.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
This is head coach Marty Quarters of the Riverkings. We'll be back with more on Riverkings Hockey. Riverkings Hockey continues here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. It's time for us to introduce you to Jesse Edwards of the Riverkings and begin by sharing where you're from, Jesse.
I'm from Rochester, New York.
Okay. So upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
And how, tell us about your billet family. Whose family and whose home here for you here in Wisconsin Rapids?
I'm staying with Joanne and Tristan Hilbert and Ryan Mance when he's in town, which is usually on the weekends. But, yeah, it's been great so far.
Okay. Now talk to us about your hockey history, and when did you first start playing hockey, and kind of walk us through from when you began to when you got here.
Well, I started at a young age. I'm not sure what age it was, but my dad played hockey, my grandpa played hockey, so kind of a hockey family. That's the main sport, and my brother played too. And so I started young, played AA travel hockey my whole life. And then when I got to high school, I got a little more serious about it. And I played there for 4 years. And then after that, I decided that I wanted to play juniors. So I played in with the Rochester Rebels last year in the NCPHL. And then after that, I came here.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that league, and just give us a little bit more background about playing last year and why that led you to come to the Riverkings.
Well, it was a startup league, so it was their first year, and all the teams were in their first year. So we were promised a lot more than we got, and so I mean it was sort of a mess, but I mean it was still a good year of hockey. I did a lot of training off the ice, and I got my feet wet, so that kind of led me to maybe pursue a higher level of hockey for this year, and that's how I ended up here.
When did you first hear about this league and about the Riverkings? You're out in Rochester, you're playing there. When did you first hear about this league, this team?
Well, actually, a buddy of mine was talking to the Chicago Cougars. Brad Stofers is the coach over there, and so I shot him an email and asked him if I could come try out because it was a joint tryout. So I came up and I tried out, and afterwards Marty talked to me. I didn't even know who the Riverkings were when I came up to the tryout, but it was a pleasant surprise, and I'm glad I ended up here.
Now, I understand that tryout was in Chicago, and that there was like 200 players there, and you're the guy that got signed out of that tryout.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it was my speed that caught Marty's eye. Hopefully, I mean, I don't think I had the greatest tryout, and but obviously I'm glad that he saw whatever he saw in me, so I'm glad to be here.
So I take it when you speak of speed, you're a forward.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
So tell us a little bit more about your game. We haven't seen you on the ice yet. We'll get to do that on Friday night. So just give us your self-scouting report on what we can expect to see from you on the ice.
Well, obviously I'm a smaller guy, so I mean I can't use my body to my advantage as much. You know, I'll go in the corners and grind as much as I can, but I'd like to think of myself as more of a playmaker, a skill guy.
Okay. So tell us about what you've noticed in practice and what you've noticed in those 2 preseason games about the difference from the league you played in Rochester last year and coming up here. What are the differences? What's going to challenge your game and really push you to grow as a hockey player?
Well, I think when you go up in a level in hockey, like the first thing you notice always is the speed. People are more skilled. Even like the smaller things, like how nice the locker room is, like all the having player water bottles and just like things that like if I had played here last year I wouldn't notice, but it's more well put together. And I haven't played any games in the league yet, but just from the preseason games, obviously the speed and the tempo. Yeah.
Now we know what the Riverkings' goals are as a team. That's to get to the national tournament once again like they did last year, and this year to win that. But how about as an individual? First of all, Jesse, do you set goals for yourself as an individual hockey player within that team concept?
Yeah, obviously I'd like to have a good season for myself, but first and foremost I'd want to win a national championship with the team. So team goals come first, but then after that I'd like to put up a lot of points this year, and then hopefully next year, move on to the next level or wherever it takes me.
So share with us your experiences so far of Wisconsin Rapids and what you think of your home for the hockey season.
It's great. It took a couple days just to get used to everything, getting a daily routine, but it feels like home now, and everything is my billet home is probably less than a mile from the rink and less than a mile from the gym, so I don't gotta travel very far to get anywhere. So yeah, it's great.
So Jesse, we look forward to seeing you on the ice. Are you excited for Friday night and playing games that count?
Yeah, I'm excited. We've a lot of practicing so far, so excited to get into the games.
Good to hit somebody in a different colored sweater?
Hopefully.
That's Jesse Edwards, and we're happy to have him here with the River Kings from Rochester, New York. River Kings hockey will continue after a short break here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We continue now on River Kings hockey, this September edition, as we get ready for games that count. And Tommy McManus is my guest now. He's a first-year River King player. And Tommy, tell us where home is.
Home for me is originally back in Kansas City on the south side, a town called Overland Park. But now I'm starting to call home Lakeville, Minnesota. Had a year there last year and really got involved there and like to call that my home now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about your home here, which is with your billet family. Introduce us to them.
Yeah, so I live with Eric Schutte at the Cronstead family, Mr. and Mrs. Cronstead, and then they have 2 kids, Cole and Kylie. So really enjoying being with them. It's already starting to be like a second family, so it's nice.
Man, that's wonderful. Tell us about your hockey history, getting to first play hockey there in the Overland Park area. Just tell us about your hockey origins.
Yeah, so grew up in a family where both my parents were Canadian, so hockey, of course, is going to be involved. So,
That's the culture.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So me and my 3 brothers all got introduced at a very young age. Who knows when? So whether it was skating on a backyard rink that we made, or always at the rink with brothers' games, just hockey's always been a part of my life. So all I've known was hockey, and it's kind of brought me here.
So youth hockey in the Kansas City area, greater Kansas City area. Then you go up to Lakeville, Minnesota. How do you get from there to here, Tommy?
Yeah, so growing up, I played all in Kansas City, and then I moved to Lakeville my senior year of high school. Played 1 season there, and then I ended up coming here I lived with another family when I was in Lakeville, Brent Colton, who's actually our skills coach here. He's been great friends with Marty for who knows how long. And I had an older brother, John, who actually played here 2 seasons ago. So always heard great things about the River Kings and knew that if I was going to play junior hockey, this is where it was going to be.
Now, I want to pick your brain just a little bit because we hear a lot of things about high school hockey in Minnesota. Now, it just is an incredible atmosphere we hear. Tell us about that, Tommy.
Yeah, it was obviously a great experience going from Kansas City hockey, where maybe you have a few friends, but mostly it's just family at the games, to playing on Tuesday night in Minnesota, where you've got several thousand people at the game when you're playing your biggest rival. Or we were actually fortunate enough to play in the section championship against our in-town rival. So we were at a rink where we packed it with 7,500 people. So yeah, it was just an unbelievable experience. A lot of fun being able to play for your school and play with some guys that you see every day.
So tell us about what you've noticed, the differences between high school hockey, even on a premier level like it is in Minnesota, to coming here to the River Kings. Talk about preseason and what you've learned.
Yeah, I think preseason and training camp especially, one of the biggest differences is in high school you practice every day and you're with the guys all the time, but here it's different when you're living with them and you're at the rink, and then you're at workout, and then you're at workout again, and spending all the time together, and how much energy that is devoted is one of the biggest things. So it's definitely been a little bit of a change, but a change that I've enjoyed so far.
Now, earlier in the program, we had Coach Quarters on. He led off the program. He mentioned you specifically and about how the defense, was a work in progress, and that you were one of the pieces that came in to shore that up. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'll be able to be an influence, even though it is my rookie season. I'd like to be able to be impactful with the team and be solid back at the back end. I like to think that I'm able to use my speed, even though I'm at the back end, and especially last year in Minnesota, I had a great skating coach. We did a lot with both edge work and just back to the fundamentals of skating. So I feel like I'm able to use that to my advantage a lot, even though it's at the back end, which a lot of people would think, oh, if you're a good skater, you'll be a forward. But being at the back end, being able to be a good skater and work the puck and look up ice, it's definitely will be helpful, and looking forward to having a good rookie season.
So will we see you on occasion carry the puck out of your own end and get the play started?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if the opportunity arises, I'll definitely go for it, but definitely just I'm trying to make 100% plays, so I try to make the smart play, not necessarily the best looking play.
Okay. So what in your own game are you working on?
Personally, I think as much as it is, I try to make 100% plays, but it's always something you can work for. Being perfect's never going to happen, so trying to make the smartest play just to get the team going, not necessarily trying to make it a cool looking pass as much as just making the right pass. So that's sort of what I've been working on so far.
So what kind of emotions do you have? What kind of things are going on inside as you get ready for a new season and a home opener?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the guys are just excited. Excited to get some real games going, and be excited to play a game at home in front of some fans. We had the Grand Affair, I believe it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago, and able to get to know and meet some of the fans as they'd come up and talk to us really gets you excited to put on a good show for them and hopefully be successful.
Well, we're looking forward, Tommy, to seeing you on the ice right here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media.
Awesome, thank you.
Tommy McManus, one of the young men we'll see on the ice as Wisconsin Rapids Community Media covers Riverkings hockey again in the 2017-18 season. Stay tuned because we've got Tristan Hillebert coming up next. And now we introduce you to Tristan Hilbert on Riverkings Hockey, this September 2017 edition. And Tristan, we welcome you to the area, the community, and to the Riverkings.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
First of all, tell us where you're from. You're the third member of our show today who has their roots in the Kansas City area.
Yep, I'm actually from Topeka, so I'm about an hour away from Eric and Tom. So I've born and raised in Topeka, lived there my whole life. So it's the capital of Kansas, nice little city. But
Central Kansas, as I recall?
Northeast, yeah. Yep.
So tell us about your billet family here. Who are you staying with, getting to know them and get settled in there?
I'm staying at Joanne Kaiser's house. She's awesome. She's a super nice lady. And then my roommate, Jesse Edwards, who was just on. And then former River King Ryan Mancey's here again this year. Been here the past couple years. So he's there on weekends too as well. So it's a really good setup there. They're all super nice people. So.
All right. So you talked about being from Topeka, but tell us about your hockey history in first getting involved in the game. When did that happen?
I first kind of started liking hockey around the age of 3. We had like a semi-professional team in Topeka called the Scarecrows, and my grandparents would take me to games there and just really kind of fell in love with it and started playing the next year around 4. And then started getting a little more competitive as the years gone on and playing high school AA for the Kansas City Jets with Eric and Tom as well. And then finally moving out east the past 2 years and playing for Richmond in the same league in the South Division.
So this then will be your third year on this level of hockey?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So what brought you here? What motivated the move for you?
I was in Richmond for 2 years and thought it was time for a change and had a couple other options. And I used to play for Brent Culleton. He's now the assistant and skills coach here in Wisconsin, and thought that it'd be a really good fit for me here in Rapids. So I decided to go with it.
Well, what do you know and what do you expect the changes to be from the East Coast hockey that you played up here to the Great Lakes area?
I think we have a physical team this year, so I think that'll maybe be a little different. We'll see once we get the game started as far as how the actual style is different, but excited to see how it is.
Give us a scouting report on yourself. What kind of player are you? What can we expect out there on the ice?
Definitely a two-way forward. I'm thinking myself as very reliable in the defensive zone, but I like to create some offense as well. I think I have pretty good vision on the ice as far as making plays and stuff, and have a pretty good shot to go along with it. So hopefully add some offense too.
What have you been working on in specific throughout the preseason? What are the things you want to get fine-tuned for that Friday night opener?
Definitely I've been working on my shot just about every day, working on some skill work, stick handling, because that could use some improvement, I think, as far as my game, and also just stuff on the ice as far as extra skating and working on quickness and speed, so it can always be advanced and developed further.
So when you talk about that, when you say you've been out on the ice, you've been working on your shot, what kind of things in specific for someone who watches hockey but might not be as close to the game as you've been over the years, what kind of things does that mean?
Just working on, hitting your corners and your shots, picking different places to hit on the net where goalies aren't going to be able to make a save as easily, and just stuff like that can help you score goals and put points up, and working on the stick handling to make the hands faster. So,
what are your expectations for this hockey team?
Obviously as a team, the goal is to win a national championship and go as far as we can. So hopefully, in the end, it'll work out that way and have a good overall season.
What's the best part? What's the most fun as a player about opening night?
I think it'll be exciting just to get out and see all the fans and connect with the community for sure to get them going. So we had a chance to meet some of the fans earlier with some different events. So I think it'll be exciting.
Sure will. That's Tristan Hilbert. He's here in Wisconsin Rapids with the Riverkings. And Tristan, what do you think of this community? You talked about Topeka being a small, nice city. This is a smaller city too. How do you like it here?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot smaller city than Topeka, but it's very nice here. I really like the community's super nice. Everyone's enjoyable. As far as the geography of the place, it's very gorgeous out here with the lakes and all the trees. It's just a very nice place to live.
Might be a little colder this winter than it was in Richmond, though.
Yeah, a little bit. We didn't get much snow or anything out in Richmond. Maybe snow once a year, and then back to the 40s maybe at the lowest. So.
You don't play much outdoor hockey in Richmond.
No, not at all. Haven't really got the chance even in Kansas to play much outdoor hockey, so that'll be fun if we get a chance to do that here.
Yeah. There'll be some nights we could play out behind the back door here.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be exciting.
That's Tristan Hilbert, one of the new Riverkings. We're excited to drop the puck and bring you hockey on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. For our videographer and producer, Art Napgezek, I'm Milton Van Natta. Make sure you check your listings for more programs on the Riverkings and River King hockey right here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media.